I was just gonna wait till you get done.
You're good. Let me pull up. I'm gonna basically, as soon as I start talking, I'm gonna count that as the beginning. So a few like minutes over from the beginning once I pull up the document. So
Okay.
that would just be a few minutes extra. So I know there's some when I've submitted the recordings, there has been a little bit extra time on that. So not responding, that's not funny. Come on now.
Uh-oh.
Not the computer deciding to do this right now. Are you serious? No, 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 no. Computer is freezing. Come on, come on. Cooperate. Okay, we're not going to do this right now. We're going to be a nice computer and we're going to cooperate. Thank you. Not me talking to the computer. And how are you, Vampy? Good to see you.
Great. How are you?
I'm good. Here we go. Let's go. Okay. Welcome to No Blues Clues for May 22nd. I forget I said that. I'm Miss Tawny, and thank you for joining me tonight. This is your weekly source of positive news and entertainment stories shared and discussed with guests. I just skipped that next part. Speaking of good news and quick life hack tips, this day in history with a reference to a story mentioned of one of the best quoted lines of the 2001 animated classic Shrek. Oh, and then there was tips about, good ways to share good news. I forgot about that part. I accidentally skipped that part. Okay, we like to celebrate life's accomplishments as well as the small things. Here are some cool tips of ways to share good news. Using social media, wrap the news into a gift, mail the news, gift something, host an event, do a video announcement, bake something sweet, and have an in-person conversation. Do you or your friends or family have any cool life hack tips? Here are 10 of my top ones. Using a paper clip at the bottom of your toothpaste can help squeeze it all out. That's for the one. Shower rings on a coat hanger are a space saver for tank tops. Pool noodles on a trampoline can help save fingers and toes from injuries. I just read that one. Okay. Karate chop or bend an empty soda can for a temporary phone stand. On a plane with no TV, stick your phone in a plastic baggie and hang it in front of you. Want your movie theater butter all the way through on your popcorn? Use a straw and it'll evenly distribute everything. When traveling, a few garbage bags around your hangers, putting all your clothes together helps save space. I'm saving this since the computer's cooperating today. Where we go. Okay. Oh, or if you're in a hotel room without a bottle opener, the door can be used. I'm going to try that one next time I travel. I've never literally used the door. Let me see if this is legit to try and open a beer. Right. Although, yeah, we know what I tend to drink. Sticking an avocado in a beer koozie can help it ripen fast. And a few command hooks inside of the kitchen cabinet can be a good space saver to stash your pot lids, like if you have bigger cabinets, obviously. Okay, on this day in history, May 18th, 975 years ago, the astronomer and mathematician of the Sayuk dynasty was born, Omar Khayyam. On May 18th, 1652, Rhode Island made the first law making slavery illegal. In 1897, the symphonic Scherzo, The Sorcerer's Apprentice by Paul Dukas, premiered. A vivid orchestration based on a poem by Goethe, which was later used in the Disney film Fantasia. In 1899, the Hague Peace Conference opened with the delegates from 26 countries taking part in the first International Arms Summit. In 1953, Jackie Cochran became the first woman to break the sound barrier. On May 18th in 1990, a modified TJV passenger train in France achieved a new rail speed record of 320 miles an hour. I've never seen a train go that fast. Okay.
Right.
Right. In 2006 in Nepal, a landmark bill was passed curtailing the power of the monarchy and creating a secular country. 28 years ago, Braveheart, starring actor Mel Gibson, premiered. And 22 years ago, the first Shrek movie premiered. Happy 53rd birthday to Tina Fey, and May 73rd, or happy 73rd birthday to keyboard player Rick Wakeman. And finally, legendary baseball player Reggie Jackson, also his birthday. But 90 years ago today, in the midst of the Great Depression, U.S. President Franklin Roosevelt created the Tennessee River Valley Authority to establish navigation and flood control, as well as the electricity generation and economic development in the Tennessee River Valley. Welcome everybody to No Blues News. Our final piece of the story segment 1 ties into the last piece, to the today and good news history, with the mention of the premiere of Shrek 22 years ago on May 18th. Here are some of the top quotes from the film. Okay. What are you doing in my swamp? Okay. Ogres are like onions. They have layers. Do you think he's compensating for something? Okay. Some of you may die. That's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. And ew, it's hideous. That's not very nice. It's just a donkey. And that's what friends do. They forgive each other. And that's a nice boulder. I like that boulder. And what kind of a knight are you? One of a kind, princess. Thank you. That was our first story segment. Speaking of good news and life hacks, a day in history, let's bring our first guest in for some questions. Okay. What is the way you share good news? And what do you think was the best tip about sharing good news in the last segment?
I believe in sharing good news is like communicating. I like texting people, calling people, just deliver a positive message to them and stuff like that as well. Or asking them to come hang out, something like that. So that's like one of my favorite things of doing something positive like that.
Right. And do you have any cool life hack tips and any of those that you would try that were mentioned?
Oof. Probably, I'm curious about how you said that what was that? What kind of fruit? What is it? Was it vegetable or something like that to store?
Oh, the avocado, to put it in one of those beer koozie things to see if it'll ripen. I'm curious if that actually works.
I would love something like that.
Right. Use it for some guacamole.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying those avocados making me want some guacamole for.
Oh, they did add avocados on here.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. And what was your favorite movie as a child?
My favorite movie was Aladdin. I love Aladdin. I love the whole story. I love everything about it. My first song from Aladdin is "Never Had a Friend Like Me." One of my favorites, upbeat kind of dancey thing in the whole new world. It's like amazing.
Did you see the live action remake one they made? That one's so good. I love that one.
Will Smith did it justice, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. And have you seen Shrek, and do you quote any of the lines from Shrek yourself?
I have seen Shrek. It's been a minute. I wish I could find a quote right quick. Let me see. Ogres are like onions. I had to look it up because I hadn't seen the movie in a while, but ogres are onions that like onions. They're like really funny. And I love how Donkey have his little singing moments too. It was epic. I loved it.
All right. And if you don't quote Shrek, which movies do you quote and why?
Most likely I would quote Titanic. I love Titanic. I watched it a lot of times. Rose still made me mad when she let them off the door and stuff. Like, I won't let go, Jack.
Right. Okay. I'm going to share my personal answers before I have the guests switch. I share good news stories in person, but my personal favorite tips from the list of ways to share the good news would be making a video message or a social media post. I wish I could say that I have some cool life hack tips, but unfortunately I don't. I would be willing to try wearing the goggles when cutting the onions, or using a straw to get the full coverage of the movie theater butter. My favorite movies as a child were Lion King and Beauty and the Beast. Good soundtracks on both of those two. Good music in those. And I have seen Shrek. I do quote some of the lines, ogres are like onions. They have layers. And then, what kind of a knight are you? One of a kind, princess. And then the other ones I like to quote would be The Proposal, Mean Girls, and Miss Congeniality.
Mm-hmm.
The lines from The Proposal reference is where it's the scene where they're chanting in the woods, and she's what comes to her mind is get low, and she starts chanting get low, and then Ryan Reynolds' character walks up, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, she's so casual about it. "We're chanting." He's like, "That's the first thing that came to your mind? Balls, you know? You're a freak." But, yeah, I love that movie. I've seen it so many times. Okay, and Mean Girls. On Wednesdays we wear pink, and it's October 3rd. You have to make sure October 3rd. You better be telling people what day is it. It's October 3rd. Okay. And then Miss Congeniality. You think I'm gorgeous. You want to date me and marry me. And then when that one, the Miss Rhode Island, when she has the pageant questions and they ask her about the perfect date, instead of saying her actual perfect date, she goes, "I'd say April 25th because it's really nice out and all you need is just a jacket." And everybody's looking at her like, did she just say that, you know? Okay. All right. All right, and thank you to the first guest. We move on to the second story segment, National Day Calendar and past events we've celebrated in May. There's a website and an app for national days. May 18th was National No Dirty Dishes Day. Just get some paper plates, bowls, silverware. Dishes are not fun. I don't like dishes. And National Visit Your Relatives Day. We should do that all the time, not just have a day for it, obviously. And then National Cheese Souffle. I've never tried a cheese souffle, so I would be curious to try that. And then National HIV Awareness Vaccine Day. It's probably a good thing to get vaccines, but I had reactions from the COVID vaccines. I'm a little hesitant to get vaccines, but I know you're supposed to get vaccines. May 5th was the celebration of Cinco de Mayo, which is a celebration of Mexico's victory over the Second French Empire. A lot of people do think it was Mexican Independence Day, but that's actually celebrated in September. It's not their actual Independence Day. And where am I? Because I just covered that. Okay. Mexican Americans started observing Cinco de Mayo during the Civil War as a way to celebrate their heritage. In America, many have started celebrating it as a drinking holiday. In America, it's often celebrated with Mexican-inspired food. In Mexico, festivities sometimes intersect with the Mole Festival. In Mexico, the holiday is pretty much only celebrated regionally. Some children often get off school in Mexico. And in some parts of Mexico, it's, okay. Lost our spot. Hold on a second. Okay. Okay, wait a minute. Where are we? It's seen more as a holiday around the military. The typical festivities include parades, mariachi competitions, and ballet folklorico, which I know you guys think you might not be familiar with that, but I promise you are. If you've ever been somewhere where they have any celebrations in relation to Mexican heritage and history, it's where they have the multicolored outfits and they do the dances, and like that's what ballet folklorico is. So you think you don't know, but you do know what it is. They have street food and block parties, folkloric ballet, and whirling dancers and like shiny ribbons and braids and bright dresses. That's what I was talking about. Okay. And then Mother's Day was also celebrated in May, on the second Sunday in May. And then it is celebrated by presenting mothers and other women with gifts and flowers. In other countries around the world, Mother's Day is celebrated on different dates. In South Korea, it's actually called Parents' Day. They celebrate both parents on one day instead of having the two separate days like, you know, we do here, Mother's and Father's Day. And that's on May 8th for them. In many European countries, it is celebrated on the first Sunday of May in America. And then Armenia, on April 7th, is the day of the Mother's Day celebration. Mother's Day is celebrated different in the United Kingdom. Why is it? Quit doing that. All right, in the UK, it's celebrated on the fourth Sunday of the Christian festival of Lent. The custom came about because this was traditionally when those who had moved away for work would come back to visit their mother church and their own mothers. Mothering Sunday is a day honoring mother churches the church where one was baptized and became a child of the church. Celebrated since the Middle Ages is when they've done this. And in the United Kingdom, Ireland, and some Commonwealth countries on the fourth Sunday in Lent. And on Mothering Sunday, Christians historically visited the church and where they received their baptism. As far as my next set of questions before I'm going to switch, to our second guest. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think did I answer all my, I didn't answer from the first part. I skipped that part. Okay. I did mention about the cheese souffle, asking, oh, no, this is the part, these are the questions for this section, never mind. A cheese souffle, yeah, I would like to try a cheese souffle. I have not celebrated Cinco de Mayo. If I went to an event, I would celebrate it. I do like street tacos. My favorite make-at-home Mexican food dish has to be enchiladas verdes. I would, if I had the chance to travel to other countries to take part in their cultural celebrations, I would. I haven't had that opportunity yet. I used to celebrate Mother's Day with my kids when they were little. They would make me cool stuff at school. But as adults, we don't really do much of anything. I don't really do much of anything with my mom. Some years I'll get cards, and then other years I'll go out for a nice lunch or dinner. But to go over the questions I just answered with Vampy, of the national days, those ones that were like the souffle and the dishes and the vaccine and the visit the relatives, would you participate in any of those days?
Yes, I would. Cheese souffle sounds delicious. It sounds delicious. I'd love to try that. Yeah, definitely for the vaccine, it'd be good to get your vaccines and stuff like that, because things like that are happening. Mother's Day. So when I was with my grandmother, we went to church and they hosted dinner for Mother's Day and stuff like that. And I would make a card when I was in school. I was making cards, and now I live with my mother. So I cook my mom dinner. She don't like flowers, but I take care of them.
Yeah.
But I do cook dinner for Mother's Day for mom.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then have you ever celebrated Cinco de Mayo, and would you?
It's kind of hard not to, especially it's my birthday. It's also my birthday as well, but I would love to celebrate it with the Hispanic and stuff, and learn more about the history of Cinco de Mayo, other than having a drinking day with it. And it was my birthday, but I would love to learn the more history of it as well, to be more appreciative about the whole situation.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, and then in the United States, Cinco de Mayo is celebrated with alcohol and Mexican food. What is your favorite Mexican food dish to eat?
My favorite Mexican food is tacos, and on the side I would have a margarita.
Definitely. And if you cook, what is your favorite Mexican food dish to make?
I mostly cook. My mom loves tacos, so that's basically what I cook at home. I make tacos. Sometimes I want to make a quesadilla, or something somewhere in between that mixture right there.
Right. Okay. And would you travel to Mexico to see the traditional celebrations of Cinco de Mayo?
I would love to. That's one of my go-to places I want to go, and once in my lifetime to see is going to Mexico and see how they do things enchiladas and tamales. Yum.
Yeah, because you can make those. You can have vegan options for those too.
Tamales.
Right. Yeah. And you mentioned about Mother's Day. Okay. Back to where. Before I swap out to the next guest, I'm gonna briefly. Okay. We did briefly discuss the playlist situation, but have you been to playlist before, and were you planning on going?
I had never been to playlist, but I was planning on going this year. I'm sad that it got canceled. Sad face.
Yeah.
I hope they figure something out eventually about the whole situation. Hope they reschedule a date or something like that. But I would love to go whenever it opens back up soon.
And if it gets rescheduled, would you be going?
Oh yeah, definitely. I will. I will be going.
And I know there's talks of doing something separate in Vegas and maybe doing something separate in Orlando at the same time frame. Would you be interested in if there was alternative events like going to Vegas or doing something else in Orlando? Would you be open to that as well, possibly?
Well, I've never been in Vegas, but I would go for that event for sure. For the first time.
Vegas is awesome. It's best to go in the summer. That way you could experience the pools at the resorts. If you go they do have an off season for the pools. Like if you go certain times of the year, they're closed. We didn't know this. We went in December thinking the hot tubs got to at least be open. No, we found out. We stayed at Treasure Island, and even the hot tubs were closed down. It's literally a season between like I think October and like they only have it open like 6 months of the year, and the other 6 months of the year I think is what it is. They said that they have it closed, but they all those hotels are really set up with like nice like resort type of pool areas. So you definitely you get your money's worth. So where to go? Final segment. No, that's not what we want. Okay. Let me find out. Then guest. Cards and overnight lunch or dinner. Okay. All right, but thank you to Vampy, and I'm going to move on to my next segment and get the next guest in the box. This is No Blues News, Mondays, 6 Eastern. We're doing a second recording, obviously, because today is Thursday, not Monday. But this is a weekly show. We share positive news and stories and discuss questions with guests. This week, we've been talking about This Week in History, Mother's Day and Cinco de Mayo, and science and technology. My next two segments I'm going to do with the next guest are going to be the two science and technology segments.
Hello.
Hey. Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too.
Participating. Wait, that's the final. I don't want the final one. Hold on a second. All right, there in some tech news, there was a story of this week about some gadget gifts for people who are into the tech gifts. There is a solar powered garden gnome that has glowing red eyes, an emergency crank radio, a King Kong book safe with a diversion safe lockbox, living 24/7 step counter, digital multimeter with a 87-page manual textbook, and then a travel size spaced aged alarm clock featuring Sputnik. But some other stories in the field of science this week were there is a Dutch architect with a firm called MVRDV that won a competition to design a Hangzhou oil refinery factory park, transforming a former industrial district that sits alongside a river in China, along the China's Grand Canal. And what they were saying about it was, with this project, we do both. We incorporate the old industrial structures like newly built elements, and then, where is it? It shows us a better sustainable future. And the old fossils turn into energetic drums. There were some stories about NASA. They're testing an all-terrain slithering machine that they're using to explore Saturn, the moon, and Enceladus. They're trying to find out, it's called EELS. And what they're trying to find out is like the surface of the moon on Saturn. They think there's liquid water there, and they're trying to find out if that's how the surface of Saturn is. Hmm. And then in the Swiss Alps, they found a microbe that's helping to digest plastic at low temperatures that they think can help work towards reducing pollution and plastics. There's bioengineering firms that are working on that. Okay. Where are we? And then also in relation to NASA, the largest explosion ever seen has been captured by astronomers. More than 10 times brighter than any known supernova and 3 times brighter than the most radiant tidal disruption event where a star falls into a black hole. Well, echoing. Most supernovae and tidal disruption events only last for a couple of months before fading away. For something to be bright for 2+ years was immediately very unusual. Scientists find surge of specific brain activity in dying patients that could explain near-death experiences. For the first time, scientists have discovered a surge of energetic activity in the brain of a dying patient after their heart stopped beating. Gimo Bjorjan, an associate professor of neurology at the University of Michigan, found surges of brain activity in the form of gamma brain waves in the hotspot of conscious processing in 4 unresponsive patients who were taken off life support with the permission of their families. And then a first-of-a-kind brain surgery was done on a baby inside of the womb to help prevent heart failure. Brain surgery was performed on the baby still inside the womb in order to fix the potentially deadly damage to vessels and save the infant from suffering heart failure or a stroke after birth. Repeated echocardiograms after the baby's been born displayed marked improvement in cardiac output. Scans showed normal heart and brainwave functions. Okay. Before I get into the questions about the science topic, were you planning on attending playlists? Is it something you've been to before?
No, I've never been to. I wasn't planning on going. Yeah.
And as far if you weren't planning on going, would you be interested? Like a lot of people do meetups throughout the year, but if there was a Vegas event planned or they planned something different in Orlando, would you be interested in going like something like that to like meet up with people?
Yeah, for sure. Like I've never been anywhere else besides Jersey and Pennsylvania, but that's something I really want to do this year is like travel to places. So.
Yeah. Well, if you're saying if you've only been to Jersey and Pennsylvania, then yeah, Florida would probably be a good option because that wouldn't be as far for you then. So.
Yeah.
All right. So I scrolled too far down. Okay. All right. And any of those tech items, would you use any of those tech items?
Honestly, I would probably use the solar powered domes because if they have like red eyes, it would probably creep someone out when they tried to come up to my property. So definitely that one.
That's the only one I found. Yeah, to mess with people. The other ones are really not my personal interest.
Yeah.
Okay. I never knew there was a Goosebumps book with gnomes in it. Oh wow. The Goosebumps were some cool stories, but Goosebumps isn't really around anymore. And then in relation to that story about them working to, reduce plastics and pollution, do you do anything to contribute to green living? And if you do, what's your best tip for green living?
For green living, I know that we have recycling here, so like we recycle everything that we get, like the cans, the plastic, everything. So we just pretty much do that. But if I see like there's garbage on the floor or like in the parking lot or just anywhere in general, like I'll pick it up and I'll throw it away because like I don't like seeing that,
Yeah, true. And do you follow NASA, and do you think space exploration is still worth it?
I mean, I feel like it would be because you never know like what you'll find out in space, like what the person that's going into space will find out. And it's always interesting to know like if there's like life on another planet or like that we don't know about and all that. So
Right. Okay, and then the world is always working to reduce pollution. Do you think enough is being done, or does more need to be done?
I honestly feel like more definitely needs to be done because there's still like I said, there's still times where like you'll see people throwing stuff into the river or throwing stuff into the like into the forest or other things like that. And I feel like more just needs to be done because people are still doing it, and it's really hurting. It's really hurting the plant life. It's really hurting the animals in the ocean, and we don't need that.
That is true, though. I've seen some shows about like the ocean, how much pollution and trash is thrown into the ocean and all that, and how it affects all the sea life animals. Like something like the plastic rings or things like that, or all the different things that are unfortunately like toxic and are poisoning those animals. That there's always more that could be done, I think, and there was what I failed to touch on in relation to that one story about what they were doing with the people, the dying patients. It was in relation to studying near-death experiences. So that what they were trying to gauge was getting data to try to understand how people have near-death experiences. I personally have not had one. Okay. Have you ever had a near-death experience? It's kind of rare. I haven't really run across anybody that it happened to, so. Okay. And this, okay. And I'll reword this question because, okay. Say your girlfriend or your wife, if it was your baby and she was pregnant and you knew there was some kind of defect, even though some of these surgeries when they're in the womb, yes, they could be high risk, but if it was a situation where the baby might, live and then have a poor quality of life or not survive, would you still take the risk of potentially doing this surgery? Just like, because I guess it's kind of like, 50-50, because either the surgery can work and the baby can be fine, or the baby would obviously be born, and then if it survived would also live with a lot of problems if you didn't do a surgery. So
So I guess it just depends on the situation, because like if it does go through the surgery and it does survive, but then it has the problems, like it's going to be hard because you're going to have to be on watch with them like all hours of the day, making sure that they're okay, that they're breathing, that they're like eating normal, and all that stuff. And then if it was just like they made it through the surgery and they survived, of course, like we would want to keep the child, and like we want to raise that healthy child too. But
right.
I'm kind of like on both situations where it's like it just depends on the situation at hand.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then the final segment in the stories in relation to positive news. These are in the field of technology. There's smart beehives they're working on that monitor the bee colonies with AI. The hardware monitors everything that is happening inside the aspects such as temperature and moisture. If necessary, the machines can intervene, providing water or sugar if deficiencies are detected. The contribution is based on artificial intelligence. The system learns to distinguish patterns that precede. Where am I? Where'd I go? Oh, the decrease in the colony's population. This technology can also detect parasites and pests and applies heat treatments without chemicals. And if toxic products such as pesticides are detected in the atmosphere, the hive entrances are automatically closed as protection. Okay, and then Montana became the first state to ban TikTok on personal devices. The law makes it illegal for app stores to offer TikTok. In an April bill passed 54-43, Montana, which has a population of 1 million people, TikTok owner ByteDance has reportedly denied it is controlled by the Chinese government. And then Amazon added age verification to its palm scanning tech to speed alcohol sales. Something called Amazon One, I'm not familiar with this, to remove another checkout friction point and allow customers to purchase alcohol with a wave of their hand. Amazon also enables users to enter the pay at some establishments with their palm as a biometric identifier. The age verification step announced Monday will remove the need to show ID for adults. Exactly, yeah. And who you're buying alcohol for. And a piece of good news. Okay. All right. I already talked about that part. Okay. That was in relation to the playlist part that I added in at the end. Okay. And what do you think of the AI technology being used with the beehives?
The AI technology being used with beehives. That I really don't know, to be honest. I've never actually heard of that until now. So like, that's something interesting to like actually find out
You
about.
guys, welcome to No Blues News. I am your host, Miss Tawny. Mondays, 6 Eastern. Thank you for joining us. We have Vampy and we have Brando. We're doing a re-recording from Monday's show. Okay. And then, do you think social media can be used as a positive resource?
I mean, in certain situations, yes, it can. Yes, it can be used as a good resource. Like you can get like things out there, like say for instance, like you're supporting a cause to like whether it's the LGBT or whether it's supporting cancer or things like those. Like like just being able to use it for good instead of using it for, drama or using it for attacking people or bullying people.
All right. And do you think TikTok should be banned?
And I mean, as in used to be avid like TikTok user, I mean, I feel like honestly that little kids shouldn't be on it, but like I feel like the adults should be, and they should like have a verification of like their age and like how old they are and stuff instead of
Push it to where it's for 18 instead of letting, kids be on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then have you ever heard of this Amazon One technology, and do you think it's useful technology?
I actually haven't heard of that one either until you mentioned it. So like I was just like, oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Okay. And I already asked that question. Okay. All right. And then as far as my answer to those particular questions, social media, I've absolutely seen 100% of the benefits from social media, whether it's TikTok, this app, YouTube, or Instagram. I always strive to produce positive information, inspirational content. I think this community on this app, especially, we go live and have the power to be a small source and a positive piece of someone's day. And I don't agree with TikTok being banned. I think it helps allow for a creative outlet and keeps people active and healthy with the dance aspect. I have not heard of Amazon One, but it sounds like a good resource to help with the ID process for alcohol purchases. And as far as playlists, I did attend in the past. It's not just parties and meetups. It's networking tools, panels to help share your knowledge as a creator and learn from other creators. And streamer meetups can be amazing. The chance to hang out and get to know those you build connections and friendships with. And I can tell you there is definitely many experiences beyond this, but it's well worth it and a memorable opportunity. Okay. All right. But thank you for joining me tonight. Vampy, I'm going to have you come back in the box, and I'm going to ask you the questions from segment 3 and segment 4. But basically, to go over what the show is about, this is a weekly show. It's positive news and entertainment topics shared and discussed with guests. I do 4 different segments every week. The first one is usually the day in history and the national days. The stories included science and technology this week, as well as Cinco de Mayo and Mother's Day. Okay, let me go back to finding the questions from the third one. Okay, here it is. All right, and Vampy, of those tech items, would you use any of those?
Probably not. No one is a little creepy. They're always scary.
Right, okay. And do you live green, and what's your best tip for green living?
Yes, I do like recycling, stuff like that. Like Poop said earlier about the whole, if we see trash in the parking lots anywhere, I'll pick it up and throw it in the trash can or whatever. Loans. Got to save the planet. Save them. But
Right.
yeah, I love recycling.
Mm-hmm. All right, and do you follow NASA, and do you think space exploration is still worth it?
Yes, I do watch NASA videos and stuff like that. I like it. It's like I want to know what's going on with the whole solar system and all that stuff. It's like very interesting. So yeah, I love watching NASA and all the stuff they do to shows the view of the planets and sun and everything. So
All right, and the world is always working to reduce pollution. Do you think enough is being done, or does more need to be done?
I think it's more need to be done. Definitely.
And then, have you ever had a near-death experience, or do you think they're real if you haven't had one?
Not really. I never had that near-death experience yet. So no time soon. Knock on wood.
Right. Okay. All right. And if you were pregnant and had the option to do a surgery to save the baby in the womb, would you go for it, or would you think it was too high risk?
It's a mixture between high risk and everything. I mean, if it could save the baby, yes. But if it's just like a whole weight scale with that situation.
Right. Okay. And I don't know. Have you been to even streamer meetups yet? 'Cause I know you've been here in a while. Have you had the opportunity to go to any streamer meetups yet?
Not yet, but I want to.
Yeah. Definitely. And then, okay. And as far as social media, do you think it can be used as a positive tool?
I can see that as a positive tool for people to connect with people that they hadn't seen. I know Facebook I use for families and stuff and friends, but you gotta go see your family sometimes or friends sometimes. But yeah, I see that as a positive thing.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that TikTok should be banned?
Oh, no, absolutely not. Just the fact that the kids are in there, and there be more restrictions about the age limit of how old you should be on TikTok in general, mostly adults. But yeah, I don't think TikTok should be banned, but they definitely need to work on the whole age group thing.
And actually, one thing that came to my mind, we all know, as you know, whether you're a kid, whether you're an adult, trolls are a big part of any social media aspect, whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok, whether it's here. As an adult, we develop a thick skin and we learn how to deal with it. But unfortunately, we know firsthand that kids always don't deal with it that well, because there's the unfortunate things that happen in relation to some kids and from the negative aspects of social media. So honestly, I think that kids probably should not be on social media because they're not mature enough to have the thick skin to handle the negativity and the bullying element of social media. So honestly, they're better off to just probably have their parents just like censor it and kind of show them things instead, Yeah. And if you want to be a creator and you're a kid, then create content with your parent. I've seen on Instagram, on TikTok, there's plenty of families that create content, or moms and daughters, or sons and dads, and there's families the parents that are smart, and they do their content with their kids, which is smart because they're controlling it. And I've noticed that when it's the creators, when it's a parent and a kid, trolls don't really go as hard at them. They're like, okay, this is a line. Like this is somebody with their parent. Like it's kind of like safe knowledge that you don't go after, you don't attack somebody's kid or their parenting style. That's kind of a line most people kind of know that you can't really cross.
Yeah,
So
I've seen on TikTok where Kim Kardashian and her child North, they would go on TikTok and they create videos, and Kim had the comments off, so nobody don't comment on there, like trying to target her child, which is kind of, I think that's a smart thing to do, actually, with the whole turn the comments off for like protecting her because she's still young.
like as far as Instagram, like they have the option, you can go in and like delete your comments too. So
Yeah.
I don't know if they give you the option. I think you can delete them on TikTok as well, but I know on Instagram you can go in and delete your comments. So as far as like reporting in people and all that, unless you're like threatening my life, then I'm not gonna really pursue that aspect. It's not that serious. I can just delete your comment or block you. And then let me find this other set of questions. No, I think I did. All those questions. Okay. Oh, and as far as the AI with the beehives, what do you think about that? Like until I saw that story, I had no idea they were doing that with the beehives.
I didn't either. I understand that we have like AI like photography stuff, but AI beehive? I don't know about that. It's like AI was a little creepy to me. It's kind of scary how it does things and the way things like that. So.
Mm-hmm. And then we also had that story in China about them using that old factory to like kind of remodel it and turn it into a park. I do like the idea of turning something green that was in the past used for something that wasn't so green. So kind of like making changes and going forward to try and do better to contribute to helping the environment. That was a good idea on their part. So, but I know Montana banned TikTok, and they've been talking about TikTok being banned for a long time. I honestly don't see that happening because TikTok has really in the past few years become so mainstream that I think there's so much more positive aspects, and there's always the money element. You got to think all these social media apps make money. TikTok, it's making money. So something that when there's more positive aspects to it, I don't think it's going to be banned. And it'll be interesting to see that if, because sometimes the Supreme Court will intervene in certain things. I don't know if they would intervene in this situation, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's overturned. Because seriously, if Montana is literally the only state that's doing this, it kind of looks negative for them. If out of 50 states, if they're the only ones who are pushing so hard for this, there's going to be a lot of backlash for Montana being like, okay, you're the only ones that are doing this. Nobody else cares. Like, why are you doing this? So, yeah.
It's crazy.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and then it's like, I know that on Monday, Wild Wild West was actually talking about that he's in Houston, and that's where like the NASA Space Center is. And he was actually talking about, I wasn't aware that he was a doctor, and he started talking about some of like the medical advances they do. And actually in relation to that story about the surgery on the baby, he actually works at a children's hospital where he's one of the doctors that actually is involved in those technologies like that. So that was really cool to have, the firsthand aspect of somebody who is actively doing that and has the background information into, actually being someone who's done these procedures. So that's actually, like you think of like celebrities are so celebrated in our world today that like really like, doctors and lawyers and police and teachers, those are really the ones that should be paid everything the actors are paid, honestly, because they're changing lives, they're saving the world. And I think in some ways all those jobs are appreciated, but I know they're definitely underappreciated in our world. So But I think it kind of reminds me of like a past show in relation to like Cinco de Mayo. It was a show that I did in the past when I was doing my test runs in relation to birthday celebrations around the world, and it was talking about how in America, like we're so, and if you're in Texas, you're in California, but also Mexican American culture is a big part of our world in the United States. So I'm not surprised that Cinco de Mayo has become a big deal because like I know that like there's still, you know, like we had those friends growing up, you know, with the quinceañeras, or you might have been invited to like, you know, family parties, and like I've always respected that about the Mexican American culture, that their family is a big thing to them. They're always celebrating everything, you know. Even like I have my neighbors, for example, they have a party like all the time for everything, you know, but it's like good for them, you know, they always get together, they always celebrate everything. And I think, you know, in my background and my experiences, my family, we pretty much, it was like Christmas, you know, and like only a few times a year we saw each other. Even like going to visit, being as that they're out in California, I don't see them as often now. But I think I grew up with a totally different. My family was not the family oriented family. I wish they were. Maybe if I grew up in a different culture, it would have been different. But I think there is certain cultures that honestly they aren't as family oriented, and like, you know, family is important. So I've never really understood that. But like your family's personally, are your families pretty involved, and or is it more the aspect of you just, I think, I don't know, then as an adult you probably do see each other less because you move different places and you have to travel to see the family. So if your family isn't near you, then that may be another reason why you don't see them as often.
Yeah.
Do you get together with your families often? Yeah.
I don't visit my family that much, but I need to. I need to start. That's one of them I have. I live with my mom. I see my sister whenever she want to call and want to hang out. But my cousins and aunts, I really do need to like see them more often.
So
How is your family?
It's just me, my mom, and my brother and my stepdad and my dad around here. But we don't really get to see my cousins too often. I get to see my sister like every so often, my little sister. But other than that, like my dad's side of the family, my mom's side of the family, we don't really get to see too much. Like we'll say hi on social media, but that's it.
Yeah.
And I know like when I was younger, it was also really centered around my grandparents, whether it was me traveling from California to Texas to see them, or, you know, my grandparents out in California. It was all kind of, my grandparents were the planners, so they were kind of the big catalyst behind everybody getting together. And I think kind of, if my grandparents were not around earlier in my life, my family probably would have been less involved, honestly, because it, like I said, you know, my grandparents were the ones who were pushing everybody to, you know, to have the family unit and get together. But no, my grandparents are all passed on. My grandparents, on my dad's side, they passed back in the 2000s, and then 2015 and 2021 were when my other grandparents passed. So, and as far as the family who was, I was always close to my grandparents. They were the ones that were here in Texas. When I was younger, I was close to the other ones, but they've basically been gone since I was a teenager, pretty much. So it was basically just my dad. Every so often we'd go see my aunts and uncles up in LA, and like my family that was in Northern California would come down to LA to see my aunt and uncle. But honestly, my extended family, probably the last time I saw them would be like my dad's side, probably when I went out to San Diego. I think I saw them. No, it wasn't this past time. I think it was like 2009. And then the other side of the family, since my grandpa passed away, my mom's side just pretty much we don't get together. So yeah. But Brando, do you have any events coming up?
So I have a Disney auction coming up in it's June, right?
June 3rd.
June. Yeah. because Vampy's in it too, so that's why
It's in my name.
yeah. So we have a Disney auction in June. So that should be fun. We're gonna sing our hearts out.
Yeah, I need to practice a song or something.
And then I saw I think I saw you were an admin for somebody. Who were you an admin for?
Oh yeah, so I'm an admin for Emerald Empress's show. An attempt was made. I actually do her flyers, and
Cool.
I'm the scorekeeper for her show as well.
I need to do her show. Hers is another one. She's daytime, so I have to take off work to do hers.
And I'm
And
also
then
the
Vampy?
scorekeeper for Moody's show as well.
Do what?
For Moody's show,
Oh, for gibberish.
yes,
Yes,
the gibberish.
gibberish.
Gibberish. Yeah. Okay. His show was funny last night. They were really,
I enjoyed it.
funny. Yeah. And then Vampy, who do you admin for?
I'm in for Magician Bob, DJ Yo Boy, Rate the Date with Dorian Gray. We just had a good show earlier. It was amazing. I have an auction June 3rd, Disney auction as well. It's gonna be fun. I'm supposed to be on dealing with Scan's show eventually. Don't know when, but he'll let me know soon. And then I think I have another show I'm supposed to be on too, like in June as well.
And I have tonight at 9:15 Eastern. Kraken is doing her perspective show, her relationship perspective show. I will be on that. I forget who the other guest is. Not somebody I'm familiar with. I have the show Monday 6 Eastern. No Blues News. I'm doing on June 3rd. There's a lot going on June 3rd. There's also Chronic Chris has a battle royale. We got some good people involved in that. We have Blake, we have Kitty, we have Nemo, we have Damn Daniel, we have Kitchen. I don't say saying we because I'm not in it, but yeah, those are the people that are in it. Actually, June 3rd, Raj has dress as a gift auction that I'm going to be in. So figure out what I'm going to dress up as. That'll be a fun one. That's going to be interesting. And then I admin for Not Too Shabby with Krabby. With his shows Wednesdays at 3. Fun show. Good show. Actually won it. I think Vampy won it too. It's just, that's another one that's on in the daytime. So it's kind of, you got to take a day off to do it. But it's definitely worth it. And it is one that has the forfeits. If you lose, you have the forfeits. And if you want people trying to get people to lick walls and floors and shave eyebrows, and the contestants, when I reach out to them, they're like, "Do I really have to do that?" I was like, "No. You can choose your own." I promise you don't have to do any of that. But T-Dog went full in. He went down and licked the floor when he didn't win. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Yeah, and then and then keep the faith. This past because DJ Boy won, and Faith, she was talking about, like her wheelchair, like her tray that was on it, like, licking it or something, because I guess she could like move it to, and I'm like, what? She ended up, Faith all of a sudden just goes, she's like, and her phone screen, like, Faith, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it was a sight to see. I never caught me so off guard, like, what?
A lot of people do the hot sauce. Casanova smashed an egg on himself, so a lot of people will do that, but it's a good show. And then we have Best Friends auction. I think that's June 17th, ladies' night. And then I think that, I don't have myself involved in any other ones after that. But thank you for.
I am on Measure Story in June.
What is it?
Measure Story. I'm on Measure Story.
Yeah. I know they asked me to do that. I've done that one a few times. It's a good show. I'm trying to like balance out my work schedule before I do it again. I have done it a few times. I didn't win, but it's a fun show. It's a good
I think
outlet.
when I'm doing I gotta write my story and all that good stuff. Yay! I need to write early.
Yeah, I mean, it's good though. You're getting involved. Okay, Jay, you can go ahead and end now. But so Monday we will be back at 6 Eastern. We have NorCal, we have Sin, and I believe we have Jay himself working on getting the flyer out and getting this recording, sent in so I can have that covered for the week. Okay.
I recorded also just in case.
Huh?
I'll start recording too just in case.
Well, I don't see Jay in here. Like, oh no.
Yeah, I'll record just in case. I will still record the whole show if you don't
Oh,
show
you
up.
recorded?
Yeah.
Okay, you recorded today. Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm gonna record too also just in case.
Okay.
So you at least have 2 copies.
Yeah, that'll be a good idea. That way, if something happens with the one, then I have the backup. So,
Yeah.
but if I get the featured, then yeah, definitely. Then I won't, because kind of once you get the feature, you don't have to record every single week. It would just be kind of like if you want to have a YouTube and you want to share it for people who have missed the show, then you can post it to share it for people. So that's what I'll be doing more in the future, is just kind of recording sometimes so that I can just do the show and not be focused on the recording aspect every single week.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, I
Be a
know
good
you don't
show.
have to do it, huh?
It's gonna be a good show for sure.
Right? Yeah.
Team feature, let's go.
Yeah, I've had it's a lot of work and I've had fun with the process, but I'm ready to I have a lot in the works I want to work on and do. So I'm working on, I want to do like a VIP fives battle and a top badge fives battle and do some auctions and stuff. So